Hey guys, so it's the 21st of April. Gonna do a new video for you. Most of you know from my previous videos, like Let's Talk Music and the reaction to the new Steps single, Scared of the Dark. Today's the day I've been looking forward to. Steps have actually released a new album, and I'm gonna do like a track by track, what my opinions of the album from what I've heard. I've listened to it a couple of times, a couple of playthroughs so far, and the whole album in one piece is pretty fantastic. I've got it on Apple Music because on Apple Music so I get the started streaming it, but also I got the physical copy through the post this morning because I ordered the tickets through Ticketmaster for the tour. There's an option to get a copy of the album, and that arrived this morning, which I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I'm going to take you through the album track by track and let you know my thoughts on it. So the first track is Scared of the Dark. It's the comeback single. It's the perfect comeback single, I think. It's got the drama, it's got the strings, it's got the beat. It is Steps in a nutshell, but also you can definitely move on from their old stuff. I know a lot of people saying it's a flop because it only made number 37 in the charts, but I think a lot of people need to realise that the charts have changed a lot since Steps were around last. If you look at the UK top 40 at the moment, a lot of it is multiple album tracks from the same albums. Like Ed Sheeran had like pretty much the whole top 10 at one point. So back in the old days, it was like how it used to be, like physical sales. I think the single would have done a lot better and it would have charted a lot higher. But because I mean, to buy on iTunes, the song was #1 for a good few days on iTunes. So I think it's just like this whole streaming thing and how streams and people are streaming songs off albums is kind of messing up the charts a little bit, unfortunately. I understand why they do it that way, but it's just, I think for like actual proper singles, I think it is detrimental. Like I say, I've said Scared of the Dark. I've done my reaction video to that. It was pretty awesome. Track 2 on the album is You Make Me Whole, which I mentioned in my last Let's Talk Music video. Yeah, it's just Steps definitely making the point that they're moving forward. It's a big step towards the club territory, and yeah, it's just like a great song. It's got a great hook. It just keeps the energy going, keeps the energy moving, and it's a really good song. Moving on to track 3, Story of a Heart. This is the Benny and Bourne from ABBA pen track. I believe it's one of those guys' album a few years ago. It's the only, although a lot of the songs on this album have been performed by the people, this is the only one they're classing as a cover. Yeah, Story of the Heart, going into it, from the like little teaser video they did last week, I was expecting Story of a Heart to be my least favourite, purely because it didn't seem to have the energy. It's slower paced, but I actually ended up loving it. It's like a wistful melancholy. It's basically a love story, very much in the vein of like if you mixed Heartbeat with The Way You Make Me Feel. It's just like a true progression of those two tracks moving forward. And yeah, it's good. I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I would, because I was expecting that to be my least favourite track on the album. That's an interesting point, thinking about the least favourite track of the album. I'm not sure I've got one at the moment. I've only listened to the album about 2 times through, and it's just like thinking through the songs, trying to find like a best and worst. It's quite difficult. But about Story in the Heart, it's like very kind of, it's very kind of quaint. It's very nice. It's like a great song, and Steps do a good job of it. But I'll talk about, there's like a remix of this song on there as well, which I'll probably talk about later. I actually think that's kind of better than the original version of this, but like I say, I'm going through this album track by track, so I'll kind of get to the remix later on, because we're at the end of the album. So track 4, Happy. Happy is kind of like a breakup song. I have to say, I think, going back to like the least favourite, I think Happy is kind of like the one. It's a great song, I really enjoy it, and like I can see myself singing along to it, but it's kind of, it's not as instant a grab as some of the other songs, and I think at this precise moment it's probably one of my least favourite songs on the album. But that's not to say it isn't a bad song. Because normally with albums I have at least one track I'll skip because I just don't like it or think it's boring or not my taste. But this whole album I would happily listen to. So yeah, Happy is a good song, but it's just like, I think it's gonna be a bit of a grower. But it's definitely got a pop and dance edge to it. So moving on to track 5, No More Tears on the Dance Floor. This one was written by Darren Hayes from Savage Garden. He's a great songwriter. Well, I've loved his solo work. And it's a perfect title track for the album. Like putting the past behind you, putting your best face on, going out there, making your mark. It kind of like, it feels like Steps, because Steps obviously had the bitter breakup at the end of their Gold tour. I think No More Tears in the Dance Floor kind of moves their story on, kind of like it's them moving on, putting the past behind them, and I think like it's just a great song, great kind of anthem, which I think you'd expect a great song from Darren Hayes. And yeah, what I really like about it as well is on this track in particular, each member of the band has their own bits. Like Lee takes lead vocals and a verse, and that never really happened in the last 3 albums, or at all really. 5, 6, 7, 8, he had the rap, but here he actually gets shows off a lot more singing. It's all the better for it. Firefly was another one I was expecting to be a bit weak, but I have to admit I actually do really like it. It's kind of like, again, I think it's one that kind of sums up Steps. A lot of people kind of put them down, oh, they're pop music, they're throwaway pop, and things like that. Like, a lot of people put them down. Firefly's kind of like standing up for yourself and not letting anyone put you down, and it's a bit of an anthem. It was very relatable, but I was kind of expecting it to be a bit weak and kind of like at least it's got the album filler track, but it's kind of really grabs you. You've got a really good bridge, and it kind of just really draws you in. But yeah, it's got a really good beat to it. Okay, moving on to what is probably my favourite song on the album, track number 7, Space Between Us. Going back to the previous Steps albums, a lot of the album tracks were great, like, especially the tail end of Steptacular had like No Surrender, Never Say Never, and like those kind of pop anthem tracks. Space Between Us really kind of fills that void. Kind of reminds me a lot of those, but again doesn't sound anything like them. And yeah, it is like H gets a good big vocal showcase on this, but it's just like, it's pretty much my kind of song. It's got an epic chorus, but yeah, it's the way it just builds up, just incredible. I knew from when I listened to the album sampler they released a week ago that it would be one of my favourites, and yeah, it's just really good that it's lived up to the hype and the promise. Glitter and Gold, another great track. I had read reviews that compared it to From Paris to Berlin from Infernal, which I didn't get from the album sampler. But like the verses really do kind of have like the backing music does sound a bit like From Paris to Berlin, but it is its own song. Doesn't sound like anything else. Just reminds me of things. But Glitter and Gold is great. It's a breakup song. It's about being in a relationship, finding that you think everything's wonderful and going well, and then you find that something goes wrong and it all falls apart. And that's great. The one thing I would say about this album, especially these tracks, kind of like they are really relatable. Like they're things that I can think, oh yeah, I can kind of feel like that. And that's what Steps do. They get thrown away as cheesy pop, but they are quite deep and meaningful lyrics. And it's not me trying to convert people. Oh, Steps are awesome, Steps are great, but they're not going to be like an Adele style ballad, and they're not going to kind of like knock your socks off and be really deep and meaningful like that. But if you actually get into the songs, get into the lyrics, let yourself get swept away by the music, it really is kind of like a lot deeper than you think. But yeah, back to Glitter and Gold. It's just like another little solid banger. I love that they've gone all up tempo of the album because it is incredible. And I do like up tempo music. Moving on to track 9, Neon Blue. I know the band say this is one of their personal favourites, if not their favourite. And I kind of get where they're coming from. It is kind of like very kind of like coming together. H in a album listening thing I saw on Facebook yesterday compared it to like a coming out song, which I can get. It's about like not being ashamed, standing up, and like believing in yourself. And yeah, I kind of get that. And what I will say, it hasn't grabbed me as instantly as a lot of the other album tracks have, but it is a good song, and I fully expect it to grow on me solidly. So I'm looking forward to listening to it more. And like I say, it's another great song on the album. Track 10, which is the last track on the physical version, is I Will Love Again. This is an out and out kind of banger. But again, it's got that deep edge to it. And again, all of them, I think this is like Claire's big vocal showcase on this one. And I like how it starts quite calm and then it just builds and builds and builds. And yeah, it's just a great way to end the album. Like it was a traditional album, and it kind of is a throwback to some of the other ones like Better Best Forgotten, and some of the other album songs I had on like Step 1. But it's just like I say, you might be able to hear in the background. It is like a full out banger. And just like a great epic soaring way to end the album. Then I'm going to move on to the 2 digital exclusive tracks which I got because I've got the Apple Music. So track number 11, Scared of the Dark, the Y Boys in the Shadows vocal mix. It's been around for a while, so I think they brought out the remixes like a week or two after the single. I think it's the best of the remixes. The remixes were a bit hit and miss for Scared of the Dark. I still do prefer the original version of Scared of the Dark because I don't think the remix has got like the drama. It's missing the strings, which brought like the stormy, tumultuous feel to it. But it's a solid remix. Doesn't alter the song too much, but it's good to have like an alternative version. And the last track, track 12, is Story of a Heart, the 7th Heaven radio mix. As I did mention slightly earlier, I think this is my favourite version of the two versions of the song, purely because it's got that extra bit of oomph. Because I've always loved ABBA songs, but I tend to prefer the covers. I know that sounds really bad, but with ABBA, I think a lot of the songs unfortunately do sound a bit dated, whereas a lot of the covers add like a bit more oomph, a bit more polish. I think that's what this remix has done to Story of a Heart. It's still got the quintessential ABBA sound. It's still got all the lyrics. And it's like still the whimsical and melancholy kind of sound to it, but they they've got that extra oomph behind it, and that just pushes that extra mile to me. But I just love music with a good beat, so that is kind of probably one of the big reasons why. But yeah, in a nutshell, that is my thoughts on Tears on the Dancefloor, the new album by Steps. It has been my most anticipated album of the year ever since I found out it's coming out, and in my eyes, they haven't disappointed. It's constant, just bangers and uplifting and happy and pure, just unadulterated pop. Like I say, it is deep and meaningful lyrics, but you can just shove it on and dance and not take it too seriously. But if you're after something that is like unashamedly pop, got a good beat behind it, and it's just a bit of fun, I'd definitely recommend it, and I can see myself playing this album over and over for quite a while, I reckon. But yeah, I'm just so looking forward to seeing him in seeing the tour now. So we're all on the end of November. Yeah. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. I know it's not been overly exciting, but I was really wanted to do this video, and I'm so happy that the album lived up to what my hopes. It is probably their best album in my opinion. And that's saying something, because they have got some really good past things, like Buzz and Spectacular in particular, were albums I just loved when I was growing up. But they did have tracks that I could skip if I wasn't in the mood to listen to them. Whereas yeah, this album, I just kind of like, yeah, I'm all over this. Not a song that I really want to skip, and yeah. So thanks for listening to Ramble On. Is there anything else you want me to cover? Anything you wanted me to listen to, look at, review, react to? Just comment down below, subscribe, and speak to you next time, alright?